Hello and welcome back to Alpha Tauri, Australia and Japan today. Australia, a sprint. So, today we won't be focusing on the qualifying at all. Let me know if you want me to include qualifying even at a minimal level going forward. Obviously, we're going into a little bit of an unknown with this more expedited format for the races, so I'd love to hear your feedback in general on how you think it's going so far. Anyway, Australia brings 2 new car parts, both the side pods and the front wing are now sorted. It doesn't really help us in a great deal. We are now the lightest car though, and our engine cooling is good. I believe it's brought us up in DRS effectiveness and maybe slightly in the top speed as well, along with a couple of these have moved up one place. I think medium speed and dirty air have smidged up a little bit. Our brake cooling is now the worst though somehow. I've also learned that upgrading the wind tunnel is actually not a good thing, nor should you ever upgrade the CFD simulator because the monthly upkeep for what it gives you isn't worth it. However, suspension and car parts you should, and design center you should up to a certain degree. Factory I need to double check again, but I think you probably ought to just because of the capacity and the development speed point purposes. Also, everything except for weather center I believe doesn't actually factor into your cost cap. And similarly, for some reason, race simulator does, but scouting department or team hub doesn't. I'm just waiting till after the race to do the race simulator because for some reason it costs 4 million to refurbish almost, whereas the team hub was only 1.2. But anyway, sprint in Australia. We'll see you there. Just actually popping in during qualifying to say we do have both drivers in Q3 for the first time this season. It has been a wet qualifying in the sense that all the sessions have started dry and then have got damp, although Q1 did get dry again at the end. But even so, our drivers have comfortably been top 10 both times. Now in Q2, Sainz and Perez both got caught out by the rain. They were 11th and 12th. But we qualified that, I think either 4th and 5th or 5th and 6th, something like that. So even if they had been in the top 6 as they kind of deserved to be, we still would have been 7th and 8th at worst, which is where we qualified in Q1 when it went dry again in the end anyway. So it feels like our pace is 7th and 8th, there or thereabouts here. I'm doing them on 2 automatic flying laps in Q3 as well, just because it is going to rain in the second half, and I want them to maximize their time as much as possible. Doing that seems to be better than doing 1 lap just because of the confidence gain. If it was going dry at the end, then I would have done obviously a lap on damps to get confidence up, and then a lap on dries. But 17.7, Yuki Tsunoda does have a McLaren to slipstream, but he didn't really make the most of it. But this is likely how I'm going to focus on qualifying going forward, just sort of popping in if there's anything important happening. Considering people are doing flying laps now, the fact that Alex has a purple Sector 1 is interesting. You know, bearing in mind that both Red Bulls have done a lap at this point in time. I've sent them out on fresh tyres as well, just for good measure here, because we sort of got to be quite conservative because we're only doing 1 run in every other session so far, really. I'm very fascinated to see what this lap is from Alex with the purple Sector 1. I mean, needs 2 Hondas to get Russell. He finds 7th. And that's where he'll stand because obviously he's going to go... Well, it's already getting wet, actually. That might be what's hindering them towards the end of this lap. But 7th and 8th, effectively where we've been net in every other session so far. So we start in the points paying positions for the sprint. And it will never get dry again, so... Alright, 92 overall. Confidence isn't too bad, considering a wet practice and only 2 practices to begin with. Soft seems viable, even on 4. Now, there are a couple of vehicles obviously slightly out of order as well. Gasly and Norris ahead of us. I'm not quite sure. Someone went way to the left there, by the way, on a tank angle. It was Tsunoda, actually, that did that. Lost out to Ocon in the process. That one got Norris. And that's losing more places, I think. Who's gone with him? That's our first accident of the year. Who went with him there? Was it Gasly again? Oh, hang on. There's 4 vehicles actually involved with that. Well, I mean, Max Verstappen or Leclerc, whichever one of these was on hards. That's a huge crash, actually. That was way bigger than it looked like originally. Is that 4 vehicles out, or do they get going again? Stroll and Leclerc got going again. Well, I actually want to see it from, well, Pierre's...
Inevitable. And they'll have to pick themselves up after that.
That's not good. Well, the bigger issue there is I don't know the damage that's done to the mechanical car parts, which were fresh for this race, just because I'm trying to obviously get 1 usage on all of them. 10 seconds for Alex. I don't know what that turns into as a penalty for next race, I assume, but... Oh, the race, I should say. I mean, silver linings is Yuki up to 5th, and Stroll and Leclerc got to work their way back from the back, and Leclerc's back wing is gone, by the way, and they're pitting anyway. Somehow they managed to do a fastest lap onto the VSC. I guess we never got a full lap done, did we? I suppose while we were just rolling around, Ocon medium, Magnussen medium, Norris and Verstappen on softs, although Norris's softs are used, interestingly. Also, this VSC basically just makes the softs actually the better option for the whole sprint. Because you could 5-push a medium, and it would technically be marginally faster than the soft. But because we're obviously saving tyres now, because we're not pushing them for seemingly 3 laps, So the tyres just got a little bit cool there. Maybe we'll be able to build them back up again as this ends. But yeah, we're effectively starting this race on lap 3 with 96% soft. So only 4% lost in the space of 2 full laps. Leclerc and Stroll go on to softs. So that will help him in the long run, but they've still got to get caught up in the first place. And I suspect that fuel will be more than good enough to burn through the rest of this sprint. It's only 16 laps to go. It might be a case of going a little bit off towards the end, but we'll see. Yuki already attacking Ocon, because DRS isn't turned off during a VSC, so it would have activated on lap 2, so it's fine now. Sainz on the hard behind is incredibly useful because he's struggling to keep up, even with DRS. Tsunoda attacking Ocon on the outside. There was actually an incident like that in practice. It was a Wassa closed off a Ferrari, I think. So he had a penalty, and will have a penalty still actually for the race itself. That's fourth for Tsunoda. Of course, there's no replays in the sprint. Having to go at Norris now is Yuki. I mean, to be fair, I think he's faster than the McLaren, and that one is double DRS, so off he goes into third. That's unsurprisingly one of those 2 drivers in the back is doing the fastest laps, free of everyone else. Left Norris behind now. I would have thought everyone would have pushed for 2 laps on the restart. Magnussen's on a medium, Verstappen is on a soft, so Verstappen still exists, so don't expect to win this. If it was just Magnussen, I might be considering Yuki winning this, but no, Verstappen still exists here. But Yuki's got DRS though, crucially. Norris is struggling to keep a medium mock on behind. So in theory, everyone will stop pushing at the end of this lap now. Obviously, we can keep burning the fuel though. And hopefully Yuki can stay within a second, as he's actually done the fastest lap there. Not that it's relevant in a sprint, but still has DRS. I'm willing to melt the tyres as long as it keeps him in DRS range of Verstappen and Magnussen. So we've got a little bit of wiggle room because obviously we've had the safety car to begin with. But ultimately, this pace is being set by Verstappen. So it's whether we're faster than him with DRS is the question. All right, that's probably about as far as we can take that. And we are capable of staying in the DRS range whilst looking after the tyres a little bit more by utilising curb still, which hasn't been changed yet. Ooh, actually, they're still staying hot though. I wonder if that's... We'll keep an eye on the actual wear rate. So he's actually got Magnussen there. Yuki, oh buddy, old pal. Worth saying, actually, the fuel's going down by about 0.1 per lap. So we're about to run out of fuel at race end. Like, there's exactly the right amount of extra fuel to keep pushing. Of course, part of the temperatures of these tyres was being in dirty air. So I was tempted to say getting clean air to help bring them down, but apparently not needed. Yuki, this shouldn't be happening. We've left Magnussen behind. He's got DRS still, but he won't have it again. There goes Verstappen, unsurprisingly, back. Okay, so remarkably, 3 laps to go, as the notification just says. This is still a fight. Still 0.3 over on fuel. Tyre temperature's actually back into sort of comfortable range, and I think Max is on a medium as well, right? Soft as well. So he's on the same tyre, same wear as well, crucially. So he's on identical tyres. Max is 3 seconds behind. I thought the medium's longevity might still come into play towards the end of this. It doesn't seem to be. Stroll and Leclerc haven't caught up. Like, I understand Leclerc not catching up because he hasn't got a rear wing, but there doesn't appear to be anything fundamentally wrong with Stroll's car, but there must be. Because he's on soft and he hasn't caught Ricciardo. He's doing 121.1s, which is slower than Bottas, Giovinazzi, Zhou Guanyu, Nick De Vries. Like, a whole raft of cars are going faster than him on hard tyres. So there must be something fundamentally wrong with Stroll as well. Like, Leclerc's understandable. He's got the problem that Alex had in Abu Dhabi last year. You know, the big old hole in the rear wing. But, all right, so Verstappen's turn to come back again. 2 laps to go. That looked a lot closer than it probably ought to have been. So, crucially, in regards to winning this sprint, Yuki's the one behind on the final lap. Still plus 0.2 in the fuel. I'm not quite sure why he's not saying 1 lap to go or last lap in the box. That might be a visual bug. He stayed behind in that DRS zone, which is interesting. But this is last lap. Magnussen did actually slightly close the gap overall. I remember a few laps ago it was 2.9. It's now 2.7. Yuki doesn't do it through that DRS. There's one more chance, really, for him to nab a sprint victory. Because Max is obviously making this hard. Yuki's got his nose in. I'm going to keep an eye on that fuel as well, just to make sure he doesn't go under. Yuki in the final few corners. Okay, we seem to be okay on fuel. Just on the last few corners, Max has got DRS to the line, but thankfully the line comes quick enough. What has he just done there? I mean, it's a sprint victory, but what has he just done there? I mean, talk about differing fortunes.
Over the line and heading right to the top of today's podium.
It's a sprint. I don't think there is a podium. So this is actually going to be a really fun race. Yuki starts at the front. Alex starts at the back. This is where we take penalties for taking new engine parts, by the way. I don't know if you can do it between a sprint and a race, but you should be able to. Take the penalties for putting new pieces in, but we haven't obviously used all our original pieces yet. I mean, out of nowhere, really. He had no reason to be there. up 7. Fastest lap as well, not that it matters in a sprint. While having all that madness and people gaining places because of 4 vehicles effectively vacating spaces ahead of them, Carlos Sainz and Sergio Perez only made up those 4 places. Lando didn't make up any. Esteban and George got him and then the 4 places. Plus Yuki, of course. He's gone from 20th to 20th. It's still only, it was a 5 place, so 10 seconds converts to 5 places. 5 seconds converts to 3 places, so I don't really know how that works. Yes, I can see how that's a problem. Thank God we've got a spare of all of these, I think. Yes, we do. So they were, actually, to be fair, for the things that broke, they were the most easily replaceable. And bizarrely, doesn't seem to have actually hurt the mechanical car parts, which... to be fair, you only did 1 lap on them, so maybe there is a little bit of damage to, say, the gearbox, because that should have been on like 99, 98 after qualifying. But so there might have been a little bit of a dent, but thankfully they're not fundamentally broken. Now, if I remember rightly, the AI here don't do any of the strategies that I presented to you, although 1 stop does seem to be very much viable. Okay, so 1 stop is 1:18.36 with push, medium to hard. A 2-stop soft, medium, medium with basically just all out, 1:18.90. Okay, apparently it's 17 seconds faster to do a 2-stop, and he starts at the back. Anyway, so if he pits first, then he's going to get them straight back in again. Meanwhile, Yuki needs to start on a soft, so Miles will go for it. 8 points in Tsunoda's bank already for this weekend.
Yuki Tsunoda will be hoping things go his way today.
So do I.
Brace yourselves for the Australian Grand Prix. And it's lights out, and away we go.
One man has everything to keep hold of, one man has everything to gain. As Albon already gets Gasly, which is worrying probably for Gasly. Around the outside of him goes, why are we looking at him? Tsunoda. Magnussen got Verstappen off the line. Looking at the wrong one. Of course, it ultimately defaults to car 1, doesn't it? Now Magnussen and Tsunoda are having a go at it. Verstappen started on mediums, which is why he had a slightly rougher start, I think. But Stroll already passed Russell, although Russell had a penalty, I think, so... Oh dear. Gasly got him back, as everyone concertinas and goes 2 by 2 through here. Around the outside he goes there. Still not really seeing the overtake complete. Alex is still ahead at that point, but I'm guessing Alex is still ahead. Why did he ever say Gasly overtook him? If anything, Alex is about to make a move on Hadjar if he's caught napping. I mean, we're getting the reverse replay now, as Pierre's making more of a move on him. So recovery from Alex ultimately. He does need to get Hadjar quickly. He's spending too much time defending from Pierre and not enough time thinking forwards here. I need him to get Isaac, who is blocking off Pierre now. If you could just put your nose in on the inside here, Alex, that'd be great. Meanwhile, Tsunoda continues to fend off. Well, when I say fend off, Magnussen's comfortably behind at this point. Good solid few tenths. I didn't take any fuel out, I now realise. So I have actually hamstrung our vehicles in that respect. We do have one of the latest vehicles on the grid now, which might be the main benefit we're having. Because our fundamental car isn't that great, it's just lighter than everyone else's by effectively a few kilograms worth of, well, probably about 5 to 8 kilograms. There's the yellow flag. That wasn't Albon's fault. Albon was stationary, but it looks like it's Leclerc who's got a penalty. So Gasly had actually got back ahead. I hadn't seen that replay, but he gets Gasly here because there's an incident. Why is Leclerc got a penalty? I still haven't seen the incident. Here it is. Wait, no. Why is Leclerc still got the penalty? That'd be why he's got the penalty. Also, in case you're wondering why I was wondering where Leclerc was, despite it being, fairly patently obvious, I had forgotten Leclerc wasn't in a Ferrari. I was looking for a big red vehicle. When I saw what I thought to be Perez, I was wondering where Leclerc was. Well, that's made life easier for Alex, because now he's just basically freed up to attack Isaac instead of defending from Pierre, who has dropped off, just as DRS is about to activate as well. So I'm intrigued to know what happens with the tyres here, because in theory, we should just full 5 push the entire time. No need to take off curbs or anything like that. It's just attack, attack, attack. However, if attacking melts the tyres faster than it says it's going to melt them, you can just fastest lap for good measure. We've run out of DRS as well there, though, of course, but we'll push fuel until we're about 1.5 under, I think. Is Alex going to get Isaac without DRS? I think he is. As Leclerc maintains, well, to be fair, he's making a hash of it, but he'll get him eventually. Of course, Magnussen has DRS on Tsunoda up ahead, but he's got him now, and crucially, still in the DRS range of Iwasa/Leclerc. Meanwhile, Yuki defending. Might as well watch that. Up to 18th. I mean, considering the vehicle is effectively the same one that Yuki has right now, took a surprising amount of time, that. Also, Leclerc's really struggling to get past Iwasa for whatever reason. He's just doing everything wrong. He's got him eventually, though. And finally, Magnussen into the first DRS means he gets to just power away through the remainder of that, and then onto the second straight as well. It looks like the Ferrari behind has got Magnussen, Verstappen. So the Ferrari behind Russell got through Verstappen. They don't have DRS on us, though, as a unit. So the tyres seems to be melting on par with what has been predicted for them. Obviously, we are separated by almost an entire field in regards to pit stops, so we can probably actually pit on the same lap. Annoyingly, though, Iwasa does seem to be holding on to Leclerc. There's a yellow flag. That is... Oh, God, it's Leclerc again. It's Leclerc, and I can't look at him. Oh, has he bounced off the wall just as we were getting close to him? Yep, there goes Leclerc. Not been a good... Whoa! I can see why there's a safety car. 1.8 had patch notes of improving avoiding stationary vehicles. Albon, everyone's pitted. I wasn't given the opportunity to pit. Just want to throw that one out there. I mean, Alex could. What are they pitting onto? Mediums. Trying to work out how this helps them. So medium isn't going to the end of the race. And Sonoda's stuffed either way now. So, because the one thing we can do here is we can just not pit. Alex takes track position of second on the assumption that Iwasa's coming in as well. It feels risky. Iwasa does come in. Okay, so Alex got track position of third. Everyone's gone on to fresh mediums at this point in time, which won't get to the end of the race. So kind of utterly pointless in their respect. It is a free pit stop, but I don't know if they're all trying to do 1 or 2 stops to begin with. Safety car maintains itself. I feel like we should have had the safety car in message by now. Well, I think we can just push fuel for the rest of the race now. I don't know how this is going to work, but I'm fascinated to find out. So Mags has still managed to usurp Alex, but Alex can be very helpful in holding up the rest of the field for Yuki at this point in time, who did get royally mugged off by when the safety car came out. Because I personally didn't have time to react. But if we're playing to 2-stop with 2 sets of mediums anyway, that safety car came out at completely the wrong moment for our strategy. And actually, Yuki's just vanished up the road. Great. Okay, both of our drivers have got, that must be the pit entry line there. But both our drivers have gone across the line now anyway, so let's find out what's going on here. Oh, well, they've just tapped each other. George kept on going. A little bit more carnage behind that, though, as people started avoiding each other. So it's Russell with a penalty, but he has split off Stroll, etc. behind by a few seconds. So that's ruined DRS for them lot. Magnussen has got back in range, obviously, because fresh mediums versus used softs is not going to work out really in our favour long term as a fight. Of course, we can push these tyres a little bit longer. Unfortunately, Yuki had to pit then. That comes out exactly last, without really any much fuss. Hopefully they're spread out a bit. They're not spread out at all. Great. Yuki has... Oh, don't you dare. Literally just as we finish pitting. Virtual safety car. That looks like Nick de Vries is, yeah, absolutely well and truly in the wall. Has he taken Ricardo with him, or was that just a weird... No, I think it was just a... Oh, he's just gone. He's just lost it. One last place to get. We've got more than enough fuel to finish the race on full attack mode. Our drivers are slowly, one by one, picking them off. I don't know how, but Alex has got ahead. But Yuki's finally dealt with the Hasses. But somehow in all that, Alex got ahead of Yuki in trying to get through people, even though Yuki's just done fastest lap again. But Alex is up to 11th as things stand. Again, 6 seconds behind Gasly, but obviously full attacking the entire way. There's been another incident. Perez is on 0. That's a safety car. That's Stroll as well. Stroll as well. Okay. And we are sufficiently behind this time to actually react to it. So let's have a nosy. Hard would get to the end. 18 seconds slow, but of course, we're pitting when everyone else is as well, I think. So option 2 is a medium, just going 3 to the end, which would be marginally faster, apparently. A medium on 3. Not a huge amount in it, but if there is another incident towards the end, then we've actually got 3 mediums. So there's 3 seconds between our drivers, so it's not much of a hindrance as such. But, oh, looks like Stroll went into Perez, and Perez actually continued, but then just parked up. So Perez is still going then, is he? Yeah, directly ahead of Alex, actually. So what are the chances that everyone else is coming in? Saw that one coming. And unfortunately, a lot of them were that far ahead, it didn't make a difference. So they're just going to get in and out without any fuss. Because their mediums needed to come off again anyway. And they're going on to mediums as well. So they're thinking they can get to the... To be fair, you can't get to the end on a 3 push, so... Being held. Oh, driving through the Williams mechanics. Still came out at 9th. Yuki's getting absolutely mugged off. But we're all packed up again. We've got way too much fuel. I wish I had a moment to take fuel out because we'd have got it all back. 7 kilograms over. 7. Just because we didn't get a lot of visor cam now because of the lack of qualifying involved. We'll have a look at Yuki Tsunoda's view of Isaac Hadjar ahead of him, who got him through the pit stops. I think Bottas was ahead anyway, but he had taken the Haas before. Stroll was given the penalty for that incident as well. It did look like it was his fault. But of course, we can't go all out anymore. Some of these are on hards, I think. Yeah, Hadjar's on a hard. As is Sainz and Norris. Verstappen went on softs. He's stopping again. There's no way he gets to the end of the race on used softs. Have they basically just gifted Magnussen a victory here? Or Russell, maybe. Depends how held up by Norris Russell gets. Russell and Giovinazzi on softs as well, at the back for some reason. Now, come on, Yuki. This is a Haas ahead. Well, Alex is looking in the back of a Ferrari. Well, he did get Hadjar. DRS I don't think is active yet either. So, crucially got past the Haas. Poor Yuki. And then Bottas a couple laps later. DRS now active, of course. Around the outside, no fusses whatsoever. Yuki 13th. Oh, 12th, I suppose, because it shows his original position, of course. A bit of a train ahead, which starts with sights, I think. Obviously, Max is running away, but he should be running out of tyres. Tsunoda has a DRS-less Zhou Guanyu in his sights and has dropped Bottas simultaneously. Fortunately, Zhou Guanyu has gotten into DRS before Yuki's managed to get anywhere near enough to really make an overtake himself. But Gasly's dropped out. Alex has got Ocon there. I wasn't really expecting much from Alex there, just because A, I'd put him on top of ERS, and B, he was just in a train of 5 vehicles, so opportunities are minimal in that kind of situation. However, Alex gets 8th. Remember he started last? Both our drivers in a bit of a train, so we might just stick them both on top up for a bit. Never mind. Every time I think there's going to be nothing really more for a little bit, we get an overtake on the inside of sights. Obviously, everyone's got DRS still, so all power off equally. You can see the very back of that shot as well. There he is. I think crucially, Alex should probably get up to about 5th. Piastri's 5th right now. I don't know how, but he is. I'm going to stop topping up for a little bit just to make sure he can close up to sights, crucially, in Piastri. I'm fascinated what's going to happen with Verstappen here, because that feels like a free place as things stands. Magnus is well clear on Norris as well, so Magnus is on for the win here. Albon's on to decent points if he can get Piastri. Right, Yuki. Pressure Zhou Guanyu, please. Everyone's got DRS though, but Zhou Guanyu is still struggling as a result. Zhou Guanyu is still struggling despite the DRS. I mean, their confidence should be pretty good, despite the fact, obviously, he's down in 12th. Because he's made a whole bunch of overtakes, he should be feeling quite up for this. Maybe I just get Yuki to go full harvest for a bit, rather than top up. Although, Zhou Guanyu is outside of a second now. Well, Alex. Oh, Sainz is on hards. That's why he's struggling to get Piastri. But he's getting him now, I think. Alex with the best view in the house of this fight. Only 2 seconds of the road is Norris as well, so they're not exactly running away, crucially. So Piastri's done for there. We'll get DRS now, though, I think. Yeah. I mean, what overtake, Alex? What overtake? I'm literally watching you. You never went on an attack line. Ever. I mean, Alex went on 2 times there. That was the wrong time to do that. With an interesting line. Looks like he's got Piastri. Might still be on the outside, Piastri. Judging by the interval. No, he's yielded now. So he might be behind, and he's the one directly behind the hard-running sights as that DRS zone begins. Oh my god, Perez, isn't it? Okay, so maybe I do send Yuki on a bit of a harvest because Zhou Guanyu's covered the gap again. And Giovanazzi's pitting now again off those hards. There goes Sainz. For good measure. I mean, it's mad that Alex is 5th. Well, that's Sainz dealt with. Hard running, of course. So we need to get these 2. Norris is on hards as well, I think. Which I think what's kind of helping hold Russell up. So maybe as a unit, we'll be able to get hold of him. Alex is in Norris's DRS. Verstappen's still not gone off those softs. They're on 47. Yellow flag. Yellow flag. What for? I mean, Giovinazzi is 15 seconds off the back, but he did just pit again. Perez has crashed. What? I felt like I'd have noticed this. Oh, that's why. Because he just got going again. Outbroke himself. Just letting people through, though. And splitting the field up, I think. No, Zhou Guanyu's still the second out. So when Verstappen pits, inevitably, he will be behind. Is that a lapped... Looking at the wrong person again. I was looking at that at McLaren and thinking, why is he not making an overtake on Zhou Guanyu? Because Yuki's not that one. I was wondering why there was a Ferrari ahead that wasn't yielding, because I thought somehow we managed to get up to Perez again, who must have been obviously going very slowly on his outlap, but he's still come out 16th fairly comfortably after pitting. This is, of course, Norris and Russell ahead of Alex. Yuki, meanwhile, has some ERS to use at some point. Giovinazzi does fastest lap. Verstappen's still not really losing pace despite him being on sub 40% softs here, which is depressing. So Piastri is holding Yuki up here, ultimately. I kind of wish Sainz was dropping off more. Wait, what? Oh, so Gasly's already got Piastri by this point. I was slightly confused how Piastri was behind Yuki there. So Gasly got his teammate, and then Yuki's followed him through in the second DRS. Which means... There is Gasly. I was going to say, which means Yuki should be fighting Gasly as things stand. Because he would have DRS in him on the next race. So that's Yuki through. As actually, simultaneously, Albon's made his way through Norris. Takes him a little bit of a while, but they get there in the end. I mean, it's a hell of a recovery drive. Considering it. I mean, there's nothing we could have done with Yuki. Yuki got mugged off in that safety car and would have been picked up by the safety car immediately afterwards. So couldn't do anything with him. Alex was a decision, and Alex is still 4th anyway. Maybe I should just deploy Yuki here because he's got to get a second and a half and keep the Alpines behind, of course. Just cut that gap to the leaders, as we should really pay attention to that Ferrari. Alex not making the move in the first DRS. George Russell blocking that off. Still a weird sentence, quite frankly. But DRS on the second straight. Is he going to get him in the braking? Probably better switch to the outboard to get a better look at this. Norris struggling to hold on now. Iwasa's spitting. He was on softs as well. Alex struggling to make this stick, but it's a good old fight, this. It's been given the replay already, though. Good old race, this. Where was this kind of race last year? That's P3, but that's P3, his engineer just said as he got re-overtaken. But that means he'll be behind by this DRS. Or is it George who was behind and is now powering away? Okay, so Yuki got in the train. Max has now pitted. Max is in the lead by 5 seconds. Quite comfortable, really. 6 laps to go as well, he's pitted with. Odd decision. Odd decision. He's come out 6 seconds behind Zhou Guanyu with 6 laps to go. I can see him getting back through Gasly at least. But Russell and Albon are really fighting each other now. And Tsunoda's now in the train. Tsunoda's claimed another victim. Meanwhile, hard-running Sainz ahead of him as well. With Norris too as well, actually. So Tsunoda up to 6th. Alex 2nd. What a result this is. Provided, of course, he stays there. Christ, 2 laps later, Max cut that 5 seconds straight away. He's got 2.5 seconds faster a lap, so he's cut the 5 seconds in 2 laps. He does now have to get through vehicles, and then there's 3 seconds from Gasly to Ocon. So I think he'll get through Gasly, at least, in these remaining few laps. 4 more laps, 52% tyres. I think the last 2 laps we might be able to just go all out. He's got Piastri, I think. That's actually Zhou Guanyu, actually, for that matter. Everyone's got DRS, so he's actually getting Zhou Guanyu currently, and might actually only have Gasly to get now. I'm slightly more worried he's going to get through a little bit more, but if Gasly can help hold him up for at least a lap, that'll only give him 3 laps of attack to get to Ocon, etc. Russell doesn't seem to be holding on quite as well now, for whatever reason. Maybe he's fought a little bit too hard with those tyres. The hard's not holding on quite as well as I thought. It's only about 10% better than ours. I mean, Russell is now sort of still in range, but he just sort of just dropped off for a lap, I think, before having another go. There he is. But Max clear of Gasly, 2.8 seconds behind, 3 laps to go. That's going to be cut quite quickly, isn't it? I mean, at the very least, the very, very, very best of his soft tyres are going to be gone by the time he gets called up to them. Because he's got to already be like at 80%, I think. 86. So there's Alex getting George back again. 1:19.1 he did there. Only 1.3 seconds faster. Alex gets George back again. Max just entering back a shot like Jaws. I mean, this is going to be a nice little fight for the remainder of the race, isn't it? With 2 laps to go, 48% tyres. I'm tempted to just let them have it by kind of halfway round. Sub 40% should be all right. So Magnussen's won. There's no doubt in that. And crucially, this train has held Max Verstappen. Sainz has made his way past his old friend Lando. Yuki's stuck up the chuff of Lando now. Right, we'll get him to deploy tactically from here on in as well, because there's a little bit of wiggle room on that front. So we reacted badly initially, but we've recovered okay, really. 2nd and 6th. I think Yuki... If Yuki hadn't been called out originally, he would have won this race. 100%. Because Magnus has won it by a mile. Although actually, that gap's come down to Magnussen this last lap. I don't know what his lap time is on this final lap, but it's not good in comparison. I was really hoping Yuki would make a move on Lando before the end of this, but apparently not. And Max is held in 8th, crucially. Championship leader. I mean, it's a good team result, ultimately, but Perez got fastest lap and was outside of the points, so that's fun. I mean, what? Kevin Magnussen, race winner. Alexander Albon, despite not pitting under the safety car and starting last, 2nd. Great race for Magnussen. Stayed out of trouble, pity when he should have. I am fascinated to know how that race... I do really want to know how that... There's a huge what if we had pitted Albon right now. P6 is decent. It's not a win, but P6 is decent with a sprint victory. I mean, that's a fun podium, isn't it? That's a fun podium. Also, poor Fernando. Actually, I just realised, because Fernando is available to sign, that means Aston Martin just straight up ditched Fernando Alonso for Kevin Magnussen. Up 18 places, Kevin up 2, George up 2, of course, Yuki down 5, but Max down 6. He made a mistake. Lance, Nick, and Charles Leclerc not finishing the race, of course, there. Driver-wise, Kevin Magnussen up to 4th. George leading with 3 podiums out of 3. Max obviously failing there. Didn't get a podium in the first race either. 4th. Charles not finishing. Means George Russell is leading the championship right now. Yuki Tsunoda, 16 points over race weekend. Somehow stays 8th in all that. Alexander Albon gets 18 points. By the way, just want to throw this out there. Alex, 10th, 20 points. Esteban Ocon, 5th, 28 points. 8 points separates 6 drivers. Now for Tauri, join Aston Martin on 46 points, Mercedes on 54. It is a 3-way fight for 3rd, not 4th, as things stand. And we do have the 2 fastest pit stop as well, so let's build that momentum up early and keep hold of it, please. We had issues with both our second stops. I think we got held in the second round of pit stops as well, under the safety car. So God knows where we'd been if we had managed to do that, but 5 million in, that's more than enough to get the refurbishment of the team hub, or driver, whatever it is. Race simulator, that's the one. So there's 2 in the warehouse. So we've actually got enough spares of everything still. Although I can't help but notice, suspension and underfloor probably will fail at the next race. But new suspension design is 3rd of April. There's a big old gap till Japan because that's where China should have been. So we might actually still be able to manufacture suspensions in time for Japan, certainly for Las Vegas. But if there's space to build underfloors, now's probably the time to do that because they're going to be needed. For Japan, which we'll see you for shortly, of course. 2 races in this. Before we head into Suzuka, just a quick update on the car. Alex has the only copy of the new suspension because Yuki Tsunoda's control is negated for this weekend. Of course, it's his home race where that sponsorship problem comes in, but because of that and because we only have 1 copy of it, I'm giving it to the driver with full control for this weekend, which means Alex's car looks like this with a new rear wing as well on both cars. DRS effectiveness is up to 5th in the field, top speed still 15th, but that's gone up. We're still holding firm in the cornering, but dirty air tolerance has gone up overall, and most importantly, because of the suspension, brake cooling, we're back in the middle of the field there, 73%, up from 66 as it was. Our engine cooling, I think, is also edging up as well, but I think other people are doing more in engine cooling at the moment because that was in the top 10, I think, for Australia, but now isn't, despite the fact we've actually added things that actually improve that a little bit since still. And the 2026 simulated big regulation change, which we do get to vote for, has gone in the favour of the more spread out version. Rather than having 50% in everything except for the front wing, which was 70, we've all opted for pretty much the 55% in everything apart from the front wing, which is 65. So actually, realistically, it's a bigger negation overall because it's 5% more in everything else while only being 5% less in the front wing. The problem here, of course, is that the AI doesn't necessarily compensate for this as well as you do. So I'm not quite sure how this is going to pan out. A lot of people have actually reported that even with minimal research, they've ended up a good second a lap faster in 2026. Now, those people were at the front of the field to begin with, typically. So maybe if I'm not at the front, then this might just at least bring us into the front and it won't be quite such a dramatic problem. Fingers crossed. But that's still a year away. We've still got to go through another 20 races. Speaking of, time for Japan. Normal race, no sprint. I'd figured I'd use Q3 as my opportunity to get you caught up to speed on everything that's happened. My decision to give Alex the 1 set of new suspension in fear that Yuki Tsunoda may crash with his low control this weekend was justified within 5 minutes of practice 1 when Yuki Tsunoda binned it in such a severe accident that it destroyed all the mechanical car parts. He has lost an entire engine, an entire ERS, and an entire gearbox. Single-digit percentages. The gearbox is on 0, so he has wasted an entire round of engine parts. Thankfully, they were the engine parts that did the first 2 races, so they weren't the best, but even so, the ERS was still 80% plus. The engine and the gearbox were 60-something. He also destroyed his suspension, ironically, along with 2 other car parts. I forget which ones they were, but aerodynamically. Every single qualifying session has been rain affected as well. The race will be rain affected. And Alex was caught out in Q1 on a wet to dry qualifying, and he was caught out on his dry lap. I don't know what happened, but his third sector was 1.6 seconds slower than Yuki Tsunoda's was. Lance Stroll was also caught out in the same stretch. One of those deals where you get basically one flying soft run at the end and you pray that nothing happens, and unfortunately something happened to Alex and something happened to Lance Stroll. I recall seeing a Sauber, so I don't know if something happened in negotiating the Sauber or getting round the Sauber. I don't know what happened on that front, but he was 1.6 seconds down in Sector 3, which I believe is basically just 130R and the final chicane. So it's a bit difficult to actually lose that much time there if you don't get caught on something. But first laps are in there, and it's going to get wet this session, so these laps that matter. Thankfully, there's enough time. Oh, it's actually already getting wet. Why is it getting wet already? Oh, that rain came in a lot earlier. That was like saying it was going to come in here before. So actually, Yuki's not going to go fast now anyway. 37.2 in the dry, 38.2 he's just on there. Just Yuki, no point. You're a second slower. I've no idea how much faster the first sector was, but you're going to be slower now because it's wet. So 8th for Yuki in his own race. Giovinazzi in the top 10 show Grand New beats Lando Norris as well. Ocon had a problem in Q2 on his dry lap and didn't get it done in time, so he's 15th as well. So there's only 1 Merc in the top. Well, 3 as it happens, but a bit of a mix-up in that top 10. Charles Leclerc does have a penalty for the race though, so he won't start in first. As does Lance Stroll. Both of course had incidents in Australia and didn't serve their penalties before they crashed out. Lance Stroll's happened as he crashed out. Charles caused an incident and then separately crashed out. 1 stops are viable, 2 stops are called faster anyway even before you decide to push anything, so that's probably the way we'll go with that. Soft, medium, soft probably seems the most fun. Yuki won't have 2 fresh softs. Apparently overall that's going to be better for Yuki, so we'll do that. But Alex does start 18th. Lance Stroll's penalty goes behind him. Charles is not enough to go behind Yuki Tsunoda, clearly. And I will remember this time, because it will rain as well. Oh, hang on. Rain happens immediately. Hang on a second here. Okay, we've got a Zandvoort. It's dry for the first lap, and it's going to be dry enough for the first 5. Lap 4 to 5 is the changeover. I mean, so obviously we just put that in immediately. That is intermediate all the way to lap 45. Although, could be dry as early as lap 41. That's interesting. The intermediate will only just get there. 5 to 41, 36 laps? That's halfway. So 2 inters is going to be better off here. Depending on where the changes are, 2 intermediates is better than 1. It's worth just checking, of course, even just on neutral. Okay, 1 would be 6 seconds faster, but even pushing it to 4 on both does better. On the assumption that they might melt a little bit quicker anyway. So that's probably what we're going to have to do then, isn't it? I wish I could... Hang on, I can trick this. I could trick it to use the used ones first. I mean, there's likely to be an incident, but we'll go 1 under and slam it, obviously, for the first 5 laps. I didn't realise Daniel Ricciardo had voice lines. Am I going crazy? Could I see people on hard tyres? Oh dear, they have not prepared for the rain. Nor have I, apparently, with that. Alex, apologies. Yuki was fine. I'm so confused by the hard runners. Not that it really matters, but within 5 laps, everyone was off these tyres. And it did start with the right tyres for Yuki, so that's good news. De Vries is starting on 80%, Ocon started on 78. But Yuki crucially attacking people on hard tyres already. Gasly's dealt with. On Stroll, of course, at the back of the grid. Where did Leclerc fall to? 5th, so 1st to 5th. Or probably 6th, actually. He's probably just got Russell and Magnussen straight back again. We'll come in. Nobody's crashed, although this is where someone will crash if someone does. So far, so good. A hard runner just made an opportunistic move on a soft runner there. I was Guan Yu up to the inside of Norris, bizarrely. Yuki Tsunoda on the back of the hard-running Ferrari. Yeah, everyone at the back's on soft, so it doesn't really help Alex too much. The people at the front, of course, on hards. Weird split on that front. Piastri did get Guan Yu as well, originally. Guan Yu started 10th. I love the fact we've already entered the pit window. I think it's going to be lap 5. It feels like it'll be lap 5. Charles Leclerc started on used softs as well. Do you reckon you make a move, Yuki, without crashing? Well, you did the second half, which was probably the most important bit. Ooh, I don't know what George just did there, but that was not wise. George just pulled out the way of Yuki Tsunoda there and gave him the very least the opportunity. I mean, George is going to have flashbacks about that corner. Once again, George pulling out of the way of Yuki, but that's simultaneously getting the slipstream off Magnussen. Leclerc's up to 3rd. Of course, after this lap, everyone else will stop pushing as well. But our drivers will just continue on for the next 3 laps. I don't know what the AI does in this respect, actually, because I know they are a little bit smarter. Obviously, their regular game plan is push for 2 laps and then go off it. And then sort of intermittently push and don't push, depending on the situation. But because the rain's coming, I don't know if the AI will just continue to push. Rain in 1 minute, apparently. So the rain should start sort of in the middle of this lap. It just won't be... There you go. It just won't be wet enough until lap 5, in theory. Alex is still 18th. What are you doing, Alex? I mean, same situation here. Everyone was pushing for the first 2 laps. Although Yuki's got the attack line on the inside. Don't mess it up. The Japanese crowd cheering there. Sounded like. That's one place. Redemption this weekend for Yuki. And of course, we'll do better by him this weekend in regards to pitting him at the right time. Our 2 jobs being at opposite ends of the field is really helpful for the rain anyway. Because they are, whilst they aren't separated by a huge amount of time, I think it's enough, I would imagine. 8 seconds. 12 places, but it's only 8 seconds. So that's probably more than enough. Definitely don't pit this lap. Probably next lap. Thank you, Pierre. It's already raining, but good to know. DRS is still active just because it's not wet enough yet. Bottas has gone up the inside of Hadjar. Alex now having a look as well for good measure. I don't think the Saubers are actually that slow. I think well, particularly with 2 rookie drivers, I think the Hasses are the worst overall now. So Yuki's dropped Russell. Verstappen, Magnussen, Tsunoda. Sainz and Perez have got enough, despite being on hards, to fend off Leclerc, seemingly. I mean, Sainz and Perez are good wet weather drivers in general, but Yuki's got the driver Magnussen here, particularly in the wet, actually. I imagine that's going to hurt the hard. If they've simulated that correctly, in terms of the tyre compound's performance on a marginally damp track, the soft tyre will have better traction in these conditions than the hard, as well as just straight up pushing Yuki, of course, and the outright pace that those tyres have in the first place. Right, so those hard tyres should struggle more. So only 0.5, okay. Okay, so 1 millimeter is a lot higher. 4 drivers ahead, none of them have bit the bullet and come in. So end of lap 5 then, maybe. We'll get it prepared. And we have to wait a lap, then we will. No one else came in. I'm looking at sectors for some reason. Okay, it's 0.6 before we even negotiated the Estes volley. I think it'll be about right by the time we get round. So Magus has been left in the dust. Verstappen next. Leclerc's not even really pushing Sainz and Perez. I mean, Alex is making a hash of this. He's not even negotiated Hadjar yet. I'm trying to work out if that's going fast enough. Or at the very least, it might be going fast enough by the time he gets out of the pits. It's going to be worthwhile. Because it's ticking up slowly, but it's ticking up fast enough. 0.8, 0.81, 2, 3. 0.85 is where you want to be coming out at least on the tyres. And it's 0.85 before he even comes in. So yes, it's fine to come in. I suspect we'll see everyone dive in as well. Yeah, because I think their trigger point is around 0.85 as well. So everyone's going to come in. There was no way of cheesing that and getting an advantage Everyone was so close to go. I mean, they're going to have to double stack, so that's going to ruin Verstappen in particular. And everyone coming in, of course, is going to hold up people like Leclerc, people like Verstappen even further. Yuki comes back out again in the lead in damn conditions. That one's being held for everyone, though, unfortunately. He was 18th to begin with. If he can just literally get out ahead of anyone, just let him go, people. Let him go. Well, he got De Vries. He's 15th. He's gained places. If I'm not mistaken, Yuki's adaptability is pretty solid now. Not comfortable going full 5. Piastri Giovinazzi is going to really help Yuki in this situation. Like, Leclerc's directly behind. Can't do anything about him. But Piastri Giovinazzi, they're 3 seconds apart apiece. They're going to really hold up people like Magnussen, Verstappen, Perez, Sainz. What on earth happened to Sainz? I'm fairly certain he was winning this. Sainz and Perez were 1 and 2. How the hell have they ended up 7 and 8? Slow pit stop being held because even Verstappen in a double stack got through them. Verstappen was 4th and had a double stack and got out ahead of Perez and Sainz. Meanwhile, Leclerc will get within 1.2 seconds of Yuki Tsunoda by the end of that one. He will very quickly get within a second. I mean, there's no DRS, so it's going to be defending from Yuki here on in. Lap 8, he's on him. Piastri, 7 seconds off though. Ooh, Alex, if you wouldn't mind dealing with Ricciardo, Alex, that would be superb. How is he driving away from you? Alex, how is Ricciardo faster than you? Yuki's winning this race currently, and your car is technically better than his. That should not have been that difficult. I don't know why, Alex. It's just sometimes weirdly terrible compared to Yuki in some races. And then last race, he got through the field so much better than Yuki did, for instance, and got 2nd, whilst Yuki ended up 6th because of all that. Sorry, Ricciardo got Alex back again. How? Adaptability is the one thing I can't stop Alex gaining. He should be one of the best wet weather drivers here. This is infuriating. Meanwhile, just want to point this out. Yuki is fending off Charles Leclerc, and Alex can't handle Ricciardo, who he has managed to get again. Well, he does appear to actually be leaving Ricciardo behind this time. God knows what he was doing wrong before. It's weird that Alex's tyres are running hotter than Yuki's, because Alex should have the better cooling. Alex is the one with the suspension with the 7% better brake cooling, so his tyres, in theory, should be 7% cooler than Yuki Tsunoda's, and yet they're not. Alex is bit by bit closing on Zhou Guanyu. Meanwhile, Yuki Tsunoda has continued to keep Leclerc at bay. Until now. It's lap like 15, 16 though. Our long-term goal at AlphaTauri is to get 6 podiums in a calendar year. We have a genuine opportunity to make it 2 out of the first 4, because Piastri is 11 seconds off the lead, 12 really, with Magnussen 2 further back. Giovinazzi has done a sensational job of keeping Magnussen and Verstappen at bay so far, especially Verstappen still. Magnussen does appear to be marginally closing on Piastri, but he's still 12 seconds behind already. I mean, there's no DRS, of course. That might be just our tyres, actually, in comparison. I mean, our tyres are slightly worse than everyone's, but Giovinazzi's are about the same. Oh, we are pitting again off these tyres, aren't we? I don't know if anyone else will, is the problem. And we're still separated, our 2 drivers, by a significant, well, I mean, even more now. They're 30 seconds apart because he got held up. So they can come in on the same lap, no problems. We can go full 5 attack for these remaining laps. Oh, Piastri's come in, crucially. So that actually does indicate other people might pit again. Actually, attacking the tyres did get Yuki Tsunoda back into a second on Charles Leclerc. I wasn't expecting that. I think Hadjar's come in. We nearly got the fuel back as well at this stage, and we've still got half the race again. So still another 20 laps of rain, so we'll push the fuel again. You are pitting, aren't you? No, okay. Yeah, you're fine. For some reason, we didn't have Alex actually pitting, despite the fact he was on optimal lap. That's fine. Still hasn't got past Zhou Guanyu, worth noting. Yuki has got remarkably close to Charles Leclerc while pushing these intermediates at the end of their life. I mean, they're so much worse than Charles's, but has gone 4/10 faster. Yeah, Alex is stuck like a second slower. Maybe pitting him and getting him in clean air could actually solve the problem. If everyone else still pits as well, of course. I'm wondering if that's actually going to get dry enough early now. But even so, Yuki, I was about to say Yuki basically still comes out in second, but he has ended up at the back of this train. Still comes out 6th, ahead of Giovinazzi, crucially. I think Alex will come out stone dead last. Oh no, Hadjar exists, miles behind everyone for some reason. I don't remember an incident with Hadjar, so I don't know how he's a full pit stop down on Alex. Zhou Guanyu pits and ends up miles behind Alex as well, crucially. So we've undercut him. Yuki Tsunoda, meanwhile, is on Carlos Sainz. Might be useful to get past him before we even get to their pit stops, because they're going to be holding him up. Yuki, that's not overtaking. Yuki, what are you doing, Yuki? Well, Leclerc didn't pit anyway, so still got the undercut on him. Feels like Yuki is going past Carlos on the outside, Ocon pits. Still got to make it stick, though. Do not yield here, Yuki. Do not yield. Keep this attack going. Or don't, whatever. Or just crash again. DRS is disabled. That's what 56 control does to you. What kind of incident is this? Virtual, okay. He's just lost the rear end, I think, going into there. Yeah. 0% tyres. I suspect rear wing. I can't see, obviously, the damage. Maybe gearbox. Again. I don't think Yuki's crash was bad enough to hurt the engine parts. it didn't seem to be that horrific. But so some people may have just got a free pit stop in there a little bit, or half a free pit stop. But I don't think people took the opportunity. Giovinazzi and Ocon did. So we're on De Vries. Bottas is now pitted behind as well. Oh, there goes the podium anyway. Much better tyres. Up the inside. No. If he just cleared Sainz, I think it might have been right. Dirty air was probably a factor there. But because he was a cretin trying to get past Sainz, he didn't. Safety car. I mean, this really helps Alex, actually. I don't know how close he is to the cars in front, but he'll clear Ricciardo and Norris if they pit. So it might put him on the borderline of points. We should actually watch this. Turn 3 just goes across the grass, and how is this a safety car? How on earth is that a safety? What has he done? Okay, Charles Leclerc did have enough time to react to that, unfortunately. And everyone else who hadn't pitted yet is coming in. Ricciardo and Norris didn't, for whatever reason. Perez has gone on mediums. Interesting. As does De Vries. Those are bold shouts. And they might be the right shout. Weather is holding just above damp conditions, so it may not work out for De Vries and Perez. But everyone might need to pit like almost immediately afterwards. We can obviously push to the end of this race as well. But Perez and De Vries are going to be rolling roadblocks. Unless that wetness goes down any further. In fact, it's gone up again. Yeah, Perez is already causing problems. You can see the gap. Even at 2 times speed, you can see there's like a block of cars. How Giovinazzi hasn't dealt with him yet, I do not know. Gasly's been opportunistic. Looks like Alex is getting in a position to overtake Norris. And has done, which is good. 1 down. Daniel Ricciardo should be easy, as Perez has fallen 2 places now. I think it might work out for them though long term, because we've all got a pit. I mean, we've all got a pit, but they're on mediums as well. It depends how long it stays damp for us, of course. Right, so Alex, you should be able to deal with Daniel Ricciardo fairly easily here, mate. Daniel seems to be quite fast. He's in 11th. I don't know where this speed for Daniel's come from. Get him with the hairpin though, and he has. That's 11th. I'm about to say Gasly next, but Perez is the one that we're going to claim, ultimately. But Perez actually might give us Gasly. I am melting these tyres, but I think at the same time we can get away with it. We're getting Perez immediately afterwards. So Perez basically gives us Gasly by holding him up and sort of allowing us to do the opposite attack angle to whatever he was doing. So now Alex just kind of runs away a bit. As it is getting wetter, despite what the forecast says. Gasly's tyres are better because I think he pitted under the safety car. I don't understand why it's getting wetter, but we'll take it. Ooh, and now it might be drying up. 15 laps on a fresh soft. It's just about tip under. I think by the time Alex is out, it's going to be dry enough. I forgot to come back, but ooh, it's not dried up as much as I thought it would. 400 meters. That hasn't dried up as much as I thought it would. We'll go for it. I think by the time he's actually done the pit stop, I can say it's 0.9 before he's even started. And I can see people behind are reacting. Ricciardo and Norris have gone. I mean, they kind of had to because they were the 2 on basically dead intermediates to begin with. But by the time he's out, 0.86? Yes. 0.85 even. 1.8 that pit stop. That's an unbelievable stop. And Chrissy comes out well behind the rest of the field. Yeah, 6 seconds behind, so he's got plenty of time to get up to speed here. Full 5 push will be too much, but we'll see how much time he cuts here. Wow, we got 11 seconds on Norris and Ricciardo, just by being on fresh intermediates and actually stopping a second time, ultimately. That's what's done that. But Perez and De Vries should be coming back again now, and everyone's got a pit ahead of them, so Perez might be on for the win here, because I don't think he's far enough behind everyone. But of course, he's on mediums, so he might not just have the outright pace. Well, you can see there, I mean, the gap is to De Vries, but he himself had to catch Hadjar first. So I don't know what the ultimate catching is, because he's caught De Vries by about 2 seconds. But De Vries is stuck on Hadjar, and De Vries was about 2 seconds, I think, behind Hadjar when we came out of the pits, so he might have caught by more than that. We'll keep on full push for the time being. Only Perez and De Vries obviously exempt from everything at this point in time. I wonder how many people we get past here. And bear in mind, there's going to be some people getting held up because of double stacks. That is 10th for Alex. I mean, that's superb work from him. Actually, Perez is only 5th, remarkably. The gamble worked for De Vries. It didn't work for Perez for whatever reason. Oh, actually, Verstappen's still in intermediates. They didn't just double stack him. Ooh, Piastri's on cold rubber. Okay, so points. Alex, I'm going to need you to be better here. And Piastri's probably up to temperature now. I feel like Verstappen had too much there. He's not going to end up behind Alex, that's for certain. Yeah, 4th. I mean, I'd watch this overtake, but I don't think we've got it done yet. Now we have. And the medium running De Vries is also dealt with. DRS, of course, now activated, so that's part of the aid there. Well, just the one zone, but more than enough to help us get past the Williams. That's 8th. Started 19th, of course. Can't push the field for the rest of this race, no questions. De Vries is tumbling, as is Perez on those mediums. We're in DRS range of Perez now, so we'll just let him attack him. 4 seconds to Ocon on the road. So 7th might be as far as Albon gets here. Shame about Yuki, because he definitely would have been on for near the front. Still have no idea what happened to Bottas, but oh well. That's a mystery for the ages. And that's Perez. Straightforward again, DRS, but of course just let him get up to speed and go full attack. Max wins Leclerc, Magnussen on the podium again. Sainz, Russell and Ocon. Albon runs up 7th at 3.5. Behind, he only got about half a second just by attacking everything. But Perez remains in the points. Piastri, Giovinazzi, De Vries is at 14th. The mediums turned out not to be the right choice. Momentary game was somewhat underdone by the fact that everyone went on to softs and then just powered past them. Stroll didn't get back in the points, interestingly, though. No, then. Max, Charles, Kevin all up 2. Carlos down 2. Esteban made a good recovery as well. From 15th, I believe. Alex started 19th, though, and that's 11 places up for him. He's making a habit of doing that kind of thing. Lance Stroll only up 8 from the back. Unfortunate for Yuki, we'll have to see with the damage afterwards there, but Alex does get Yuki 26 points apiece for them now. At least that's nice and consistent. Max reclaims first off George. Esteban pull away a little bit. Oh, Alex's second pit stop was 1.8. Was his first one 1.799 and he's got held for ages? Putting out a gap there though. Oh no, 1.799, it just rounded to 1.8 for some reason visually. Ugh. The worst part was I knew Yuki had lost his control there for this weekend. He's lost another gearbox. He broke 2 gearboxes in one weekend. The engine already had something to do with it, and the ERS definitely wasn't that bad. Oh, God. Right, Vegas next. I mean, that was fun for us last year. You've just lost an underfloor. That's fine. That was just wear and tear. We prepared for that. Another suspension missing. Oh, we can actually put the new one on. Lost a chassis as well. We've got enough pieces to cover them, though. Oh, we actually intervened and did well there. On tension between his engineer as well, which clearly probably didn't help the weekend either, on top of the control loss. Oh well, Yuki can at least use that gearbox in practices. But Vegas is in 4 days' time. We don't really get much in the way of extra pieces between now and then, just more rear wings to cover the losses, I guess. New ATR period soon, and we do get 2 designs in shortly after that, so we'll get cracking on the next one then. But it's Las Vegas and then Montreal next time out, which is another sprint race because that was so much fun last time out we went there, so I will see you for that shortly. But if you enjoyed these races, how much more interesting have they been since we've switched to doing 2 per episode? Tad annoying, really, in that respect, because this is going to be quite long, this one now, isn't it? But anyway, thank you for joining me. If you enjoyed this, like, comment, subscribe. You know the deal by now. Until next time, ta-ra.